This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming the gorgeous, the talented singer, dancer, actress Constance Forslund. Now, Constance, a lot of people remember her as Ginger in the Harlem Globe Trotters on Gilligan's Island, which is how she came onto my radar when I was a kid. But, God, she's had an amazing career. I mean, on Broadway, she did Unexpected Guests, produced and directed by Charles Grodin. She did The Women with Myrna Loy, Rhonda Fleming, Kim Hunter, Alexis Smith. What a cast there. She was in so many great movies like The Way We Were, The Great Bank Hoax, Uncommon Valor, River's Edge, Baby Boom, John Carpenter's Village of the Damned. She'll be my third guest from that. She guest starred on everything from Fantasy Island, The Chips, The Taxi, to It's a Living. Oh my God, so much great stuff here, and it's going to be great to have her on. She's going to be signing autographs at the Hollywood show September 5th and 6th, which is a great promotion because I went to the Hollywood show back in June and just had a blast. Sadly, I won't be attending this one to meet her, but I'm happy to give the promotion, and it's going to be a great conversation to talk with her today. And oh my God, hot August summer is just ending on a high note. It really, really is. So yeah, here is my interview with Constance Forslund. Hey, Constance, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
Yes, this is such a great honor. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, Tommy, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
It's my pleasure.
So, going back in time, did you gravitate toward acting early on in your childhood?
I really did, but my parents completely ignored that urge.
Wow.
I come from a family of professionals, basically doctors, dentists,
Hmm.
librarians, and they just really, didn't think it was practical and kind of ignored, my dreams. So I
Yeah.
sort of thought I had no talent,
Oh.
and so I got a late start. Um, I I don't even remember this, but my little sister told
Hmm.
me that when I was really young, I said I want to be a movie star. I only had awareness of wanting to be a dancer. Like when I got to be about junior high age, I thought, well, that I can, that would be acceptable. But they
Yeah.
didn't encourage that either. I mean, it was fine. It was a very sort of Norman Rockwell upbringing. It was ideal in
Yeah.
many ways, but perhaps for an artist, it was a little repressive. So, but anyway, my sister told me that when I was like, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7, that I want to be a movie star. And this is the crazy thing. As I look back on my career,
Uh huh.
um, I played all these movie stars.
Yeah.
I one of my first films. I mean, it was a TV film. I played Vilma Banky in
Yeah.
The Legend of Valentino. Then, of course, I played Marilyn. Then I played Ginger,
Yeah.
who was the part of the movie star.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm actually working on the part of Joan Crawford with a writer with a script she's developing.
Nice.
So it's sort of like um, the signals got crossed because I didn't get to be a movie star, but I got to play lots of movie stars, which I'm extremely grateful for.
Yeah, it's an ironic twist of fate.
Yes.
So, did you start dancing when you got the urge to?
Well, up until 6th grade, there was free lessons at my school, so then I could take it. But then, my parents, they just weren't interested. And so I had to wait until I'd earned my own money to start studying ballet at the age of 16. So, so what happened was there was show in Milwaukee put on by the newspapers, because, baby boom, let's get the teenagers busy doing something,
Right.
Creative. So they put on this show. It was a huge show, like at the big auditorium, and it was all like singing and dancing. And the man that ran it sort of discovered me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was almost like he started my life as an artist. It was, oh my God, someone thinks I have talent. It was so thrilling. He was 6'4", he'd been a dancer on Broadway, and he had these shows like in nightclubs
Mm-hmm.
where I did work for him in little mafia-owned nightclub in Milwaukee, Fazio's on Fifth, a
Wow.
floor show hits of Broadway. They'd import like a name from New York, and then there'd be the chorus behind him.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I'm getting ahead of myself. From that show my friend, who was like in the theater group at school, which I really wasn't, um, he convinced me to audition for this newspaper show. And that man, Robert Simpson, his name is, um, he hired me when I was a senior in high school to be a dancer for Dick Clark
Oh
in
yeah.
Chicago at the International Amphitheater with all these big rock and roll bands. So that was like the start of my career, really. My professional career was as a dancer. One of the action kids, they used to have a show called Where the Action Is.
Yeah.
So we were like those dancers in that show.
Wow. God. And what was Dick Clark like?
Oh my God, he was lovely. He was exactly as you would expect, just warm, friendly, just a real, um, the perfect, host for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And so, did you know early on you could sing too?
Mm, honestly, um, I can sing a little and
Yeah.
dance a little, really.
Uh-huh.
Um, but what happened then was um, I took a year off touring with a singing and dancing group, which was really fun, called the Brothers and Sisters.
Yeah.
We played, like, we opened for, at state fairs, Diana Ross. Um, I'm trying to think.
Sarah Vaughan.
Sarah Vaughan, we opened at the Caesar's Palace in the big room.
Mm-hmm.
But the most exciting part was then Doc Severinsen hired us to be part of his show with the Tonight Show band for all those summer music festivals.
Yeah.
We headlined at the Milwaukee Summerfest, which is like a huge music festival in my hometown. So that was thrilling.
Wow. So, did you get to know Johnny and Ed?
No, we did perform on the Tonight Show once, but I didn't get to know them. Got to know
Okay.
Doc a little bit, but it was thrilling, to be on the Tonight Show, and those musicians were brilliant. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just so exciting to be on the stage singing backup and dancing a little.
Yeah. God, that is
So
amazing. I mean, you got to experience stuff like young.
I really did, and then I decided to. I'd gone to Madison for one semester and I dropped out at UW, Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to be a dancer, and the dancing department there I quickly discovered was for modern dance teachers, and you didn't even do much dancing the first year.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 times a week I had a modern dance class. So I dropped out, much to my parents' dismay,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up touring with this group for a year. And then I went to UWM, which was University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, where they actually did have a really fine theater arts department, but a dance department.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend said, "Why be a dance major? You have to do all this notation, and be an acting major like me." And it was like she gave me permission to think I could be an actress. So I did that. And while I was there, one of the teachers had been imported from New York. He was directing at the Milwaukee Rep, and he kept telling us about the dedication of his students at NYU in comparison to us. And so I thought, well, then I want to go to NYU. So I've got the timing mixed up because it was after that I went on tour for a year and earned some money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know how I did this because I did it all by myself.
Wow.
My parents, they said they would fund college in Wisconsin, but not outside Wisconsin because, you know, it would be too expensive.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, I found out how to audition. You know, all, I had very good SAT scores. That's another story. Because when work slowed down in my early 50s, I had to find some other means of income for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I became an SAT tutor, which I still to this day do because I love it. You know, I don't have a lot of students, but
Yeah.
I really enjoy having contact with the younger generation like that. But so anyway, so I got in. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was accepted into NYU with a ridiculous audition. I mean, I did a comedy scene
Mm-hmm.
and then a tragedy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I picked the Queen and the Rebels. Um, and in it, she's like on her knees, like, you know, begging for her life and crying and all this.
Yeah.
And so I did my comedy scene and I did that scene, then the tragedy. And in the middle of the scene, as I'm on my knees, I just became aware that I was just didn't know what I was doing, and I just stopped the scene. I just stopped, and he said, "Do you want to start again?" And I just said, "No." I was so embarrassed. And then he said, "Well, do you have a song for us?"
Mm-hmm.
And I had prepared "Ode to Billy Joe," which I loved that song so much, which was popular at that time.
Yeah.
So and by this time I was like really sort of furious at myself, you know. And so I started to sing the song, I think very aggressively. And Lloyd Richards, who went on to, I mean, he's a famous, you can look him up, you know, he's directed Broadway shows. I
Mm-hmm.
think he ran Yale, you know, but he was at NYU at that point. He said, okay, he said, no, I'm just going to give you a little direction. And he gave me basically a sense memory. He said, you know, think about someone that you love, you know, very dearly, and think about, you know, something very sad, you know, something that
Yeah.
happened to them. Well, anyway, he said once he'd taken me through the sort of sense memory, he said, sing it again. I mean, I couldn't even believe the way I sang it. I mean, I can't even do that to myself, you know. I'm just not really a singer. But I'm sure that that's what got me into NYU was that I was able to take direction.
Yeah. So you studied acting at NYU?
Yes, I studied acting at NYU, and Tommy,
Mm-hmm.
I was so lucky because this fabulous writer, Tom Leopold, you can look him
Oh,
up too.
I know who he is.
Oh,
Yep.
you do? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he was a student there as well. And I think, was he in acting or film? No, I think he was in acting, but he was like a year or two ahead of me.
Yeah, he started
And
out
he
acting
invited,
before he went into comedy
yeah,
writing. Yeah.
yeah. And so he took me to this party where I was very shy back then. I mean, coming from Wisconsin, you know, New York, I just felt, you know, kind of, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like a country girl. I didn't really, because I felt very sophisticated, but on the other hand, I felt very naive. So, in any case, I sort of was in the corner all night just talking to Tom, and then two managers came over and said, "Are you an actress?" One of them was Bob Lamond, who went on um, to manage one of my boyfriends, who I loved so much, Barry Bostwick,
Uh-huh.
and also John Travolta. I
Wow.
mean, and the other one was Bill Tresh,
Mm-hmm.
who, I mean, his client list, like at that time, well, not he was gaining it because he was young, like Christopher Walken, Sissy Spacek, Melanie Mayron, Carol Kane. So both of them, you know, asked me, and so I said, well, no, but I'm trying to be. And the next day, I think they both gave me their cards. Bill Trush called me, and he really wanted to represent me, and I learned why because I ended up doing commercials. But he immediately sent me on a meeting for just a small part in a film that was like a revised ending.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually starring Don Johnson. It
Wow.
was called The Magic Garden of Stanley's Sweetheart,
Oh
which
yeah.
evidently was kind of a cult book at the time.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, I don't know, to make it more hopeful, they wanted to have him meet a girl coming off a plane. So I went to, the meeting was like in a bar, and I just went and talked to the director, or I don't even know if it was the director producer. And so he just hired me like that.
Wow.
And I went back and I said, "Oh yeah," to Tom, and Danny, his friend. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bill Trush, and he sent me on a film, and so I'm gonna do it." They were like, "What?"
Yeah.
I mean, it all sounds so easy, but believe me, it's not easy. It's not easy being an actor. But
No.
those years in New York, I ended up doing 4 Broadway plays with these fabulous companies.
Yep.
I mean, directed by Charles Grodin, and
Yeah.
I worked with the Young Vic Company, from London,
Mm-hmm.
and an all-star production of The Women with, oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah, I wanted to
and
ask
I
about the
was this.
women because it's Myrna Loy, Rhonda Fleming, Kim Hunter, Alexis Smith. Oh my God, that is just
Ah,
insane. Like, did they mentor any? And did they mentor you or give you any advice?
um, yes, I mean, this is so crazy because I was
Hmm.
listening to one of your other podcasts,
Yeah.
and I heard you asking someone like what their like the earliest films that they remembered were
Yeah.
from their, like when they were kids.
Yeah.
And so for me, the kind of the earliest ones I remember were Houseboat.
Yeah.
Cary Grant and Sophia Loren. It
Love
was
that
just like,
movie.
oh my God, yeah. And the other one was Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yep.
At which point I like wanted to have 12 children. I changed my mind on that later, but
Yeah.
anyway, I was so in love with Myrna Loy, and I honestly had no idea that that's who that was, because you have to remember that this was way before you could go to even blockbusters. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
was like, you didn't really have access to old films unless they were on the Late Late Show.
Yeah.
But because I played two little parts in The Women, I ended up spending every evening about 15 to 20 minutes in the hair and makeup room, sitting next to Myrna Loy while we were both getting our hair done. And she was wonderful to me. She was so kind.
Oh.
She asked me, like, she would always ask me, how my day was going and what was going on. And I would tell her about, disappointments of auditions that I didn't get, because,
Yeah.
that's the thing. You have to, even at this age, rejection is hard. It really never gets easy.
Right.
You get a little better in dealing with it. You know, you're not on the floor in tears, but it's hard when you really put yourself into something. But she told me, I mean, she was so encouraging to me. I mean, I just can't believe, like, I truly was not aware, first of all, that she was like my idol from my childhood.
Hmm.
Again, so ironic. But I didn't even know the Nick and Nora movies. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, you know,
Hmm.
when you're young,
Yeah.
sometimes, well, now it's a lot easier with the internet. You can just look everything up.
Yeah.
So, but do you remember that early in her career, before she was a star, she
Who?
played Myrna Loy?
Yeah. I mean, she was around a long time, and by this point, she was probably what, in her 70s.
Yes, yeah. I don't even know. I should look it up. She's probably was as old as I am now.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when you are this old, at least, I mean, you don't feel that old. You just don't. I mean, if you're fortunate and don't have health problems. Not to say I haven't had health problems. I've survived stage 1 breast cancer,
Wow.
stage 1 lung cancer, and I have 2 totally replaced hips.
Wow.
I don't really like to talk about it because the doctors took care of it and I'm fine now,
Oh, yeah.
But you go through these things. My father
Mm-hmm.
was an example because he was a dentist, but when he retired, he loved to play tennis.
Yeah.
He ended up having 3 knee replacements.
Wow.
Whenever it would get, it would go bad, he
Mm-hmm.
would get it fixed, and then he would do all the exercises. When I would go to visit, I would always see him on the floor religiously doing his exercises. So that's what I did, with
Mm-hmm.
the hip replacements. I did every single exercise. I still do them to this day.
That's good.
And it pays off, to have that kind of discipline, which frankly, I did not have a lot of discipline in my youth, but now I do. Now I have to.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, they slack off when they're young, and then as they get older, they get wise.
Well, yeah, because, when you're young, it's like life's a party, right?
Yeah.
Or
It's
at
one
least
big
that was,
party.
well, not for everyone. That's the way it was that was the way it was for me. I just, loved, I wanted to experience everything.
Yeah.
And now I think, maybe if I had been acting like since I was a child, like so many actors, um, that I don't know, I perhaps would, I don't know, maybe I would have had more discipline, but it really takes kind of a long time to figure out how to be an actor. They say it takes 20 years to be an actor, you know. I
Interesting.
mean, the kind of actor that I want to be. And for me, it took maybe 40 or 50, I don't know.
So,
But really, I feel like if I had the kind of discipline I have now
mhm.
when I was in my 20s, I just wonder what my career would have been like.
Yeah.
But even saying that, I'm extremely happy and fortunate in the career that I'm having.
Hmm. So when you did Unexpected Guests, I mean, Charles Grodin was a fantastic actor and performer, but what was he like as a director?
He was fabulous as a director. I mean, in the play was Jerry Stiller
Hmm.
and Zora Lampert.
Yeah.
Do you know Zora Lampert?
Oh, yeah.
But I got to do a lot of scenes with Jerry Stiller. It was it was a comedy, and it was a very clever comedy by a young writer, Jordan Crittenden, who actually was the husband of a big casting director, Diane Crittenden,
Hmm.
and he had stories published in the New Yorker, and so you can see his level of intelligence and wit, and that's what this play was like. It was a kind of a not serious, but it was very clever. And my manager, Bill, this man, that I told you about, that was so unbelievably helpful to me.
Hmm.
Um, he came and saw previews, and he came and saw previews of the British play that I was in, and I had to do a British accent. Um, and he said like, oh, and by the way, in that play, Habeas Corpus were Rachel Roberts, who I became very close to,
Hmm.
Richard Gere,
Yep.
and Jean Marsh,
Wow.
and Donald Sinden, but he's big in Britain, but nobody knows who he is here. So, anyway, my manager came and saw previews, and he said, the audience loved it. They laughed all the way through. It was such a charming play. There were two things that were not good. One was that they raked the stage,
Hmm.
and a raked stage I'd never worked on before or since. So it's slanting, so it's a little hard to walk on. And the other thing was that there was this wonderful old lady. I think her name was Jane Rose. The name of the play was Unexpected Guests, written by, as I said, Jordan Crittenden. And she had her part. There were certain plot elements that her character held that if she didn't say them, it was very hard for anyone else to pick it up. You know how you save another actor when
Hmm.
they go up on stage, or sometimes they save you. It was sort of like, anyway, opening night, there was a little bit of, she forgot a little bit of her lines, and what I'm trying to say is that night at Sardi's, waiting for the reviews,
Hmm.
I looked to the elevator and I saw the two producers like supporting the playwright. Jordan Crittenden, who was between them, practically like passing out. Evidently, the review had come out, and the headline was "Why?" with a question mark. And it just devastated him. It was just horrifying. I mean, to me, that the audiences enjoyed it so much. My manager, who was so critical, even thought that it was, really delightful, a delightful evening.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just killed like that, by the New York Times. And that's kind of when I decided, well, maybe I will go out to Los Angeles. I don't know, I felt like that there shouldn't be that much power, that they could just close a show by
Yeah.
saying that it wasn't important what he was writing about.
So then, you were in a great movie, The Way We Were. That's been around for a long time. I just love that movie. Sidney Pollack was a genius. How was doing that movie?
That was absolutely one of the high points of my career. And my manager, Bill, got me that part. I didn't even audition for it. He just sent me in to meet Marion Darty, the famous, iconic casting director. And she, like so many people, like John Carpenter, I mean, go on instinct. They sometimes they don't even have you do an audition or read the script. They just talk to you, you know, and decide, I guess, if they want to work with you or if they think you're right. I mean, Marion Darty wasn't even, like the director, the producer, but she knew them well enough that they just trusted her gut feeling. I mean, it wasn't a big part. The thing is that it was even a smaller part until I got on set. But what was so cool was because I was in all of the college days, I was there for a few weeks on location,
Mm-hmm.
which was just unbelievable up at Union College. And when we got to the scene, in the diner, which was a night shoot, Sidney Pollack, who was just, oh my God, I loved him so much. I always wished that I could work with him again one day.
Mm-hmm.
He was just the warmest, most delightful, fabulous human being. The other director I always hoped I would work with was Mike Nichols,
Oh,
but definitely I would say that, Sidney Pollack was definitely up in that category, in that stratosphere of just brilliant human beings. But those lines about the prom and everything,
mm-hmm.
those were meant to be Bradford Dillman's lines.
Yeah.
And Sidney Pollack said, "Oh, why don't you say those lines? I think that would be more like, what a girl would say.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you those lines. So you go and work the scene that way." So that made my part bigger.
That.
And just sitting in that booth, with Robert Redford and Lois Chiles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, Bradford Dillman, Lois. Oh my God, I've worked with two gorgeous models in my life
Mm-hmm.
who were also wonderful actresses. One was Lois Chiles, and the other was Maud Adams.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these girls were like intimidatingly beautiful.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
Lois
they had
Childs,
it
she was a
all.
Bond girl. Wait, wasn't Maud Adams a Bond
Yeah,
girl too? I'm trying to think.
wasn't who?
Maud Adams, wasn't she also a Bond girl? I'm trying to remember.
I think she was. We'd have to Google it, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah.
But they were, tall, slender, perfection, and both of them just lovely people. Really deep, lovely people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and of course, James Woods.
Yep. Young James Woods. I think he had glasses in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get to
So,
interact?
but
Did you get to interact with Barbara?
yes, just a little bit, but in the most unbelievable way. Um, During that night shoot, we're all at that table and we're chatting, and Robert Redford really chatted me up a lot. He was so interested in the fact that my generation was going to college to study acting, whereas in his generation, they went to, the Actors Studio or the Neighborhood Playhouse, the American Academy. So he really questioned me about my training and everything. I mean, to have that he had interest in me was so, it just really surprised me. But anyway, to get to Barbara, she, of course, was back behind the counter. And we'd been shooting, for quite a while. It's slow. There's big pauses in between. And so at one point she came over and she said, "I'm playing an outcast in this movie. I'm beginning to feel like an outcast." And it was so weird because we were all kind of stunned because none of us had spoken to her before. None of us knew what to say. And then I think they shortly called, "Okay, let's get back to it." Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
It was kind of awkward, but I thought, in retrospect, well, that probably really helped with her character. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't
Yeah.
on purpose,
Yeah.
but it just worked out that way. And then,
Oh boy.
this was the really amazing part. Ray Stark, the producer, really liked me, and he invited me to see the dailies, which weren't until we got back in New York, which normally they wouldn't ask someone like me to go see dailies, just a small part in the film. So I went to see them, and I mean, I was really good. There was at one point like a fly entered the set, and I totally didn't break character and reacted, and it was very funny. Got a lot of laughs, And of course, when I saw the movie, none of that was in there. But after seeing those dailies, when I got into the elevator, and the elevator was empty, and then Barbara Streisand stepped in, and she said, "You did good, kid." Can you believe it?
Yeah. That's awesome.
I mean, I was in shock. And of course, I don't know what I said, but I was like, "Oh my God, you're so brilliant." And blah. But I've always treasured that, those,
Oh
that,
yeah.
that she said that to me. There was one other actress who, just out of the blue, said something that meant so much to me. And that was Carol Channing.
Oh.
When I did um, Habeas Corpus on Broadway, I was up in my dressing room, I don't know, the fifth floor or something. And they said, "Oh, come down, someone wants to meet you." So I went down after the show, and there was Carol Channing. And
Oh.
she encouraged me and said she thought I was wonderful. I mean, can you believe that?
Yeah, that's
And
wonderful.
I've always made a point of trying to encourage, young actresses, because I'm not going to name names, but there were a few older actresses along the way who were not very nice.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
It's part of the package. Yeah.
Yeah. And I never wanted to be that lady.
Of course.
I wanted to be I wanted to be Myrna Lloyd, Carol Channing, Rachel Roberts. Oh, I adored Rachel Roberts.
So then you do a movie. Nobody remembers it, but it's got a great cast. The Great Bank Hoax.
Yes, and you know what is crazy, Tommy? This is so cool. But the Great Bank Hoax was recently on Turner Classic Movies.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I mean, they're showing everything these days.
Yeah, but it still speaks to the quality that film was. That nobody really saw.
Yeah, Richard Basehart, Burgess Meredith, Ned Beatty, Michael Murphy, Paul Sand. Wow, that's great. That's
I know.
who's who.
I know. I became good friends with Burgess Meredith. I adored him.
Yeah. You two are great together in that scene. With the cigarette and the flirtation going on in the bank.
I know. I can't remember who said this, but somebody, I don't know if it was a reviewer or something. They said, in terms of what a brilliant actor Burgess Meredith was, that he actually blushed. I don't know if that's really so, but we had so much fun together on that scene, and also so much fun with Paul Sand, who is just brilliant. A brilliant improv. We actually improved our scene, a lot of it, which the editors did not thank us for at all. But frankly, I was having trouble in that scene. I was having trouble. I don't know. I felt so kind of like wooden. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. So finally, I just said, can I like not strictly follow the script? So the director allowed that. With the Burgess scene, I completely to the letter followed the script.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I was so green at that point, I didn't realize what a nightmare that would be for the editor.
Mm-hmm.
But, it helped me a lot. We had a lot of fun. And also, of course, Paul started out as a brilliant improvisational actor.
Oh, yeah.
So he was into it as well. But now, I understand. I think I was nervous about, having to be in my underwear and fur coat.
Yeah.
I think I was intimidated by that scene.
Yeah. Well, you looked great, nevertheless. I mean, you were perfect
Oh,
for that part.
oh, thank you. But the other thing that, to me, looking back on it, the only thing I don't like about it is the voice I used, because this is the crazy thing. I don't know about all actresses, but
Uh,
for me, like I, I mean, it takes sort of a while for me anyway to sort of discover who I am. What is my real identity?
mm-hmm.
And when you're starting out and you haven't had a lot of, acting experience, you sort of hook on to people that you really admire. And one of the people I really admired was Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
She's
I
great.
just thought, oh my God, I wish I could be funny like her. She's so adorable
Mm-hmm.
and she's so hilarious. And mostly it was from laughing at that point. I'm trying to think if it was even before, you know, Private Benjamin.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so I thought that if I talk in this high voice, maybe I'd be funny. And I wish I could have just done the same thing, but just using my normal voice.
Yeah.
So live and learn.
You did an episode of Fantasy Island. I saw it the other night on YouTube. Was that fun to do?
Gosh, I think that might have been my very first television. And again, I didn't audition. It
Mm-hmm.
was like Bill Tresh, and the casting director, Joel Thurm, who was major casting,
Oh, yeah.
for years and years on end. Um, he he knew of me, from socializing in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so he thought, I should be fine for that part. And that part, I actually had to come back and do reshoots because when they filmed it, they were sort of focusing on me a lot. And the episode is really about Maureen McCormick, not
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah.
So they had all these reactions of me after I won and everything. And then they realized that we had to go back because they had to shoot her reactions.
Yeah.
Because that's what the story was.
Yeah, you play a Texas girl in the beauty pageant, and there's this sweet moment when you and Maureen McCormick open up to each other about why you entered the pageant. And one thing I took away from it is that, this is pre-internet. This is back when young girls were influenced by the movies and theater and music and so forth, and they wanted to be stars based on that, not because of TikTok and Instagram, you know?
Totally, yes. Yeah. I haven't seen that probably in over 50 years, so I'll have to see if I can find it. Another one that I found that's available on YouTube now
Mm-hmm.
is a Trapper John episode
Oh,
called The
yeah.
Eagle Experience. And I haven't watched it yet, but one of my fans, let me know that it's up there, and so I should probably watch that because that was wonderful. Oh, but I wanted to say that the other actresses that aside from Goldie, that I wanted to be funny too, not
Uh-huh.
just dramatic, but my idols were Julie Christie and Faye Dunaway.
Love them.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh God, I worship them. I mean, Bonnie and Clyde and Dr. Zhivago, just even now it gives me chills just thinking about their performances in them and how beautiful they were,
I always
and
had a crush on Faye Dunaway. I always thought that she was just drop dead gorgeous and she was game for anything, you know.
Yes, I actually got to sit at her feet once because she studied at Boston University with Peter Cass, who was
Hmm.
one of my instructors, and he got her to come and speak to us. And there were only like 30 of us in the class,
Hmm.
that they accepted at that point to NYU School of the Arts acting program. And so she came in and she actually told us some stuff that I don't think was necessarily the greatest.
Yeah.
But it was about taking control,
Yeah.
and of your costume, your makeup, everything. And to a degree, that's a good thing. But it's like the makeup artists don't really like it when you want to do your own makeup.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but of course, I was just absolutely enthralled by her, and I was so surprised because I remember she came not wearing a stitch of makeup. Of course, she was beautiful anyway,
Hmm.
but not glamorous, and I was so surprised. And she also had on this long. It was a black and green plaid. I don't know the name of that particular plaid, but it's famous. You know that
Yeah.
Scottish plaid. She had it was like a maxi skirt down to the ground. She was so elegant, and just it was just wonderful. I mean, to just see her in the flesh, it was just almost hard to believe that she was there speaking to us.
Hmm. I always loved the two-part episode of One Day at a Time you did where you played Mackenzie Phillips' shady roommate who's a model.
Oh my God, that was so much fun, and I have Mackenzie Phillips to thank for that
Hmm.
because I hadn't done really much TV and certainly not through camera live, and so when I went in to audition, they said, well, you haven't done any through camera live. I said, yeah, but I've done lots of commercials, so I know how to hit my marks. And I've done Broadway, so, I know how to deal with an audience. So that's the same. So anyway, it was down to 3 actresses, and they let Mackenzie choose. We all did a test, audition with her, and she chose me.
Mm.
I loved Mackenzie. We had such a good time.
I always had a crush on her too. She was this, cute,
Yeah,
cute tomboy hippie chick with a big smile.
yeah,
And she
yeah,
she comes from a very talented family.
very, very much so. Yeah,
You did
she's a beautiful soul.
yeah, you did a Taxi episode, and I ask everybody this who guest starred on Taxi. Did you get to witness the crazy antics of Andy Kaufman?
Oh my gosh, yes. But in the best way possible. Um, but first, I want to say that
Hmm.
I was living with Barry Bostwick at the time, who
Yeah.
I was just madly in love with, and he knew Mary Lou Henner from doing Grease on Broadway, and I knew Jeff Conaway because we were at NYU together.
Yeah.
We were always working on scenes together. I adored Jeff. He was my best friend from
Yeah, you
NYU.
you mentioned before about Travolta and Bostwick. They all did Grease on Broadway at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I literally fell in love with Barry Bostwick watching him on stage in Greece.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just, and then I don't know, sometime later, I think he was no longer in it. I was at Joe Allen's and I was going out to get a cab, and we sort of bumped into each other and we chatted for a minute and he asked for my number.
Mm.
And it was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe my good fortune. And then I thought, oh, is he going to call? Is he going to call? I don't know how long it was before he called, but he did call, like, I don't know, within a few days, but seemed like an eternity. And then, he took me out to dinner, and I was just very, very madly in love with him. So my first day on the set, I go to my dressing room, and there's this beautiful arrangement of flowers. And I open the card, and it's from Mary Lou Henner. I mean, she gave me flowers.
Yeah.
She didn't really even know me. She knew Barry. But anyway, during the course of that, Andy Kaufman, on several occasions, would just walk into my dressing room and just stare at me, saying nothing. I would just say hi, and he would just keep staring at me. very sweetly.
Yeah,
But, it was odd. There was no dialogue
yeah,
except mine. And so it wasn't dialogue, a monologue.
yeah. Oh my God, he was brilliant, that guy.
Wasn't he? Oh my God. Yeah.
And in that episode, Jeff Conaway and Tony Danza fight over you.
I know. I was so lucky. I was so lucky. I think I sort of don't remember, but I did two episodes of Chips. One of them was rather dramatic. I kidnapped a little girl,
Oh yeah.
not out of meanness, but to replace, and it was Heather O'Rourke.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my
from
God.
Poltergeist. Yeah.
I know that darling little girl. Such a tragedy. Oh my God. I can't believe that she died so young, so beautiful, so talented.
Yeah.
But I was going to the first episode where I think I was dating all of them or something. I don't know. That was, I guess, a common plot back then.
Yeah.
A woman between friends. But
Yep, the black market adoptions and kidnappings, that was very common too on TV back then.
yeah, yeah.
So when you played Marilyn Monroe in this year's Blonde, were you a fan of Marilyn's?
Oh my God. Yeah. Um, I sort of don't know if I ever would have played Marilyn except for when I was at NYU. One of my brilliant acting teachers was Olympia Dukakis.
Mm-hmm.
And after one of my scenes, she said, you have a quality like Marilyn Monroe. And I vaguely know who Marilyn Monroe was, if you can believe it. I've never seen her movies. I
Wow.
did not really know. And I thought, I sort of knew, I don't know, that, images of her and things. I thought, what? So I watched, just think of this. It was like probably 1969. I tried to see where I could see one of her films, and finally, at an art house in the village, Bus Stop was playing.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to see it, and then I fell madly in love with her.
Mm-hmm.
So then, honestly, she influenced so much of my work in New York. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like she was, I don't know how to describe it. She was like my alter ego in a way.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the only reason I ended up playing her, because really I was so horrified when I saw it, because my face, which is pretty, but it's angular. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh
I
yeah.
really don't look like her at all. And so that was like, I don't know why I sort of imagined that I looked more like her than I do. Or also,
Mm-hmm.
while I was shooting Moviola, when you're doing the lead in a TV movie, but especially a TV movie because it's fast, you are working like 12 hours or more a day. I mean, you're not getting any sleep. You literally don't have time to eat. And I got skinnier and skinnier and skinnier the more we shot.
Wow.
And when
Yeah.
we started, there was even one scene. I always thought of the reason I was brave enough to play Marilyn was because I honestly thought I'm playing Norma Jean. Norma Jean before she was so perfect. And her hair actually was kind of my color hair then, you know.
Yeah.
And so the very first day we shot it with my color hair, and somewhere in that film, you'll see me with sort of much darker hair. And that night, they said, after seeing the rushes, they said to the hair, stylist, you've got to make her blonde. It's not going to read. And so I ended up staying practically all night long at his house. He did this horrible, torturous thing.
Yeah.
I don't think they do it anymore. But to do highlights, he put like this skull cap on my head with holes in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took like a crochet hook and pulled hair out of it. And my hair was fairly long then.
Mm-hmm.
And and then bleached them all. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And then I had to go back to set with almost no sleep. I mean, it was a lot. I mean, that talk about a discipline. You really
Yeah.
have to be disciplined um, to be a big star.
I
Although, of course, some of them are not, but then it usually doesn't end well.
I own all of Marilyn's movies. I love all of them, even the bad ones I love.
Oh, me too. Oh, gosh. I mean, Don't Bother to Knock,
Oh, it's my
Niagara.
favorite.
Oh
Yeah.
God, I love them. I
Um,
love them so much.
7 Year Itch. That's my favorite Marilyn
Oh,
movie.
7 Year Itch.
I so
It's
many
just heaven.
so many people are critical of that movie, and I found out in recent years why. There's a lot of people
What?
are purists of the play because the play was much more body than the movie. Because in 1955, you couldn't make a movie that body, you know.
Oh my God, I would love. Do you know in what way more body? Gosh, I would love to read that original script. I mean,
No,
I just,
I've never seen it on stage. I'd love to see it on stage just to find out how body it was.
that's part of Marilyn's charm was that innocence that she brought to all of her extreme sensuality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so fresh and uh, just delectable. There was a lightness to it
Hmm.
that I don't know if body would have suited her.
Yeah. I don't
In,
know.
in that, I mean, I think I just can't imagine anyone not liking the 7 Year Itch. I mean, her performance is just so hilarious.
It
With
is.
Rachmaninoff.
It is, and that was the beginning of her downfall because it took months and months to film that movie because she was late and she was high and all this stuff. It's really sad.
You know, I kind of have a theory about that.
Hmm.
That what you so that was you're saying kind of the beginning of when things started to go south.
Yeah.
Well, of course, there was the problem with the skirt and Joe DiMaggio. That was
Yeah.
obviously very traumatizing for her.
Hmm.
That he took it that way. But when you are in a way, it's a relief to be old now as an actor, and I don't have the money to get facelifts at this point. Believe me, if I got some, I would get one right away. But you know, you there's a certain point where you have to keep living up to sort of like your image when you're a young actor,
Hmm.
and I feel like that must have been getting harder and having to top yourself.
Yeah.
What did she do right before 7 Year Itch? Do you know?
Uh, oh God, Niagara, I
Gentlemen
think.
Prefer Blondes, Niagara?
Yeah.
Because Niagara, that really just blew it to the sky with her, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it
And
wasn't a comedy. It was a drama.
yes, it was a drama. And she was incredible in it. But there's there's this thing that even I experience it in my own small way, that when you've done like a really good performance sometimes,
Hmm.
and then you have to do it again, and you get really afraid that you're not going to be able to do it as well as you did it the last time,
Yeah.
that it's not going to work, that you're not going to, because I don't know, in artists, you never know exactly where the source is. I mean, you sort of do, you do all the preparation, but it's almost like a gift when it works perfectly, and to
Hmm.
then try and say, like the next day, do what you did before. It's like you don't really know, how do you find that place, that
Yeah.
exact energy that was flowing through you that day. It's kind of subjective in the end.
It is. It is.
So I feel like that she probably felt the tremendous pressure on herself because of all the attention that she got, and because everyone thought she was wonderful. And how am I going to live up to being that wonderful again and again and again? And how am I going to, stay as beautiful? How am I going to stop from,
Hmm.
nature taking its course over time? I just feel, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but, and I didn't see that when I was playing Marilyn. This is all being much older and looking back and thinking, wow, because when you're young, you just want to be, as big a star as you can be. And
Hmm.
then when you're older, sometimes, like me, I sometimes feel like maybe I'm a little fortunate, that I don't know if I could have handled it. It's a lot.
Yeah. Now, my earliest memory of you, of course, was the Harlem Globe Trotters on Gilligan's Island playing Ginger. Um,
Oh,
I, I'll never understand why Tina Louise doesn't want to embrace being known as Ginger, but they had Judith Baldwin play her in Rescue and Castaways, and then you come in. So were you like the first choice, or were there several that they were auditioning for?
yeah, actually, in Cassandra Peterson's book,
Oh
in
yes,
the
I read the book.
prologue to it.
Yeah,
Did you see the prologue? Because evidently
yeah.
she and someone else were auditioning for it. Honestly, I didn't audition. They just hired me on the basis of Maryland.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I was offered. I was offered the part. I've been offered parts, a number of times, and that was one of them.
yeah. Did you like grow up watching Gilligan's Island?
Oh, of course, of course. I adored Tina Louise. I
Yeah,
adored the whole show. I have a great, finally, I'm doing a Hollywood show in a couple of weeks, or a
of
week and a
course.
half.
Yeah.
I know that I've only done it once before, and I really was clueless the last time I did it. I didn't have good pictures. I think they weren't high res enough, whatever. But this time, finally, from that show, a fan, they were disappointed I didn't have one from that. So I got one. So I'm so happy I'm bringing it. I'm probably going to post it like today or tomorrow on, Instagram and Facebook. Because I have a great color picture of me with the whole, Gilligan's cast. And they were
Love
they
it.
were just wonderful to me.
Yeah, I interviewed
Yeah.
Bob Denver's wife Dreama, and she tells me he was just this warm, sweet guy, and he was very smart. He was not dumb like the characters he played.
Bob Denver? No, no, he was not dumb by any means.
Hmm.
He was another one of those very special people,
Yeah,
just so kind, warm, oh, loving, smart, humble, you know,
yeah.
very humble, not full of himself.
Tell me about Martin Landau and Barbara Bain. I mean, they were married, of course, and they're actor
Yeah,
studio legends.
yeah. I mean, that was amazing. Can you imagine being on a sound stage for like a month
Hmm.
with the original Gilligan's cast, all the Harlem Globe Trotters, Martin Landau, Barbara Bain, and Scatman Crothers?
I
Let's not forget him.
love Scatman. He was a national treasure, and he was in one of my very favorite movies of all time, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes, yes. Oh my God, Scatman was so wonderful. As I said, I'm not much of a singer. I'm sort of, but I had to sing "I Want to Be Loved by You" to the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
I think now in the episode that they've cut that out, which is fine with me. But anyway, like you pre-tape the song,
Hmm.
and then they play it while you're filming it, or at least in that case, not always. And on the set, Scatman came up and says, "Is that you singing?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, you did good." I mean, he was so nice to me.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, you must be crazy, sort of slightly off pitch. But anyway, I did have fun. I tried to have fun singing it, but really, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I have a friend out in LA who's the same age as me. We're in our early 40s. When she was like five,
Yeah.
6 years old, Scatman was her dance teacher.
You're kidding.
Nope,
Oh my God.
she has fond memories of like seeing him at McDonald's across the street from where she lived, and he gave her dancing lessons.
Oh my God. That is unbelievable. Oh, and also Chick Hearn. I don't know much about him, but sports people
Hmm.
would know about him.
Oh yeah, Chick Hearn. Yeah, I remember him, and
Yeah.
Howard Cosell, of course.
Yeah. No, but I mean, Chick Hearn was in the Harlem Globetrotters and Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the team. Like, were they all good guys, or were some of them, macho and kind of jerks?
No, no. They were all there to have fun, and we did. I mean, that's what the Harlem Globetrotters is about, right?
Yeah.
Having fun.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Having a
good.
ball, no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly.
I love your performance in River's Edge, playing that codependent mother of Keanu Reeves. Did you know then that Keanu would be a huge star?
I did, and I also knew that Richard Gere would be a whole huge star when I worked with him on Broadway in Habeas Corpus. Both of them, I totally knew they were going to be huge stars.
Yeah, I love that great line you have, stick your head up your ass if you want quiet.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh God, my parents probably aren't going to be too thrilled with that one.
I know it's funny when you're used to seeing people on cleaned up television and then you see a R-rated movie they're in, you're so shocked that they swear.
Right, exactly.
And working on John Carpenter's Village of the Damned, I've talked to a few people from it, including Peter Jason, who passed away recently. Rest in peace. Was that a good experience?
That was an unbelievably good experience. I mean, meeting Peter Jason for one thing, he was like, oh gosh, I've lost two people I love so much this year. Three people. Peter Jason, Lynn Stewart, and George Wendt.
I love
Oh gosh.
Lynn. Lynn was a dear
Yeah,
friend. I had her on here a couple times.
she was a very dear friend of mine. She became a very close friend in the last 6 years when we were doing the PAT podcast. I feel so grateful and so lucky that she came into my life. But anyway, we were on location in Marin County, up, um, Point Reyes,
Hmm.
just gorgeous, gorgeous place. I mean, near to where Hitchcock filmed The Birds. I
Right.
mean, we drove there. Me and my ex-husband came and we drove up there on my days off. It was just heaven, and they put us up in a fabulous bed and breakfast. This big old house, and um, so I got to really know, um, the other girls, Karen Kahn, Meredith Salinger,
Yep. Karen was the other
Nicole.
one I've interviewed. Yeah.
So it was all I can say. It was like heaven and earth, and also my husband then was produced the Lemonheads, Evan Bando, and their song "It's a Shame About Ray" became very popular right then. And I just remember hanging out of the upper window, blasting it on the radio to Meredith Salinger, who took a picture of me in this wonderful old wooden house, up on the third floor.
Hmm.
Just it was just a dream come true to work with John Carpenter, and he is also a very intuitive director, very brilliant. I did not actually audition for him either. I
Hmm.
had well, that's a long story, but I really have to go.
Okay. Constance, thank you so much for coming on today. I hope your appearance at the Hollywood show is a lot of fun. I wish I could go. I went back in June. I can only go one a year, but it was fantastic. And
Oh gosh, Tommy, are you here in LA?
no, I'm in Modesto.
Oh, okay.
But next time you're there, I will definitely be there. And you have a great rest of your day and be safe out there.
Oh, thank you so much. It's honestly been a pleasure, and I wish we could talk longer.
Well, I'll have you back on in the future, and we could,
Okay.
maybe nerd out on films or something from the past.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay. Have a
So
great
thanks so
day.
much for having me, Tommy, and you have a great day.
You
Okay.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Constance Forslund, ain't she a sweetheart? Oh my God, I enjoyed talking to her. Sadly, she had to go. She had to go teach a student, but I'll definitely have her back on in the future. But go see her on September 5th and 6th at the Hollywood show at the Marriott in Burbank. And go meet her. I can just tell she is just a charming, sweet person, and I'm so blessed that I got to talk to her today. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.